Let's see. There you are. You're still here. So
Yes, I
DuMond,
am.
he's a good guy, been around our group for a long time too. And we were just, I know he's given me advice. He's done work for me over the years too on some projects that we had and some, actually some personal residents. I asked him about our stuff last year and he was so willing to help. And he's just, he's a guy that owns his own company. He does good work. He's full of integrity. And I just asked him if he'd come and talk to us a little bit about HVAC because it's that time of year. You can't tell because I'm sitting outside other than the leaves are all dying. So, DuMond, you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself and about what you
Well, for one, I've been in the industry for 2 decades, and I'm a little anal about my work. I'm very, how can I say, excited, and I really just have passion for what I do. That's about the
do?
size of it.
Mhm. What areas do you kind of cover? I know you're pretty much a master of a lot of these things we're talking about here as far as heating and cooling. What areas
Absolutely.
do you?
I literally go from basically St. Louis County to Wentzville is the area that I cover. So that's about it.
Hmm,
Cover those areas. Sometimes I go to St. Louis City, but not that often.
okay. Now, what is just? Was just curious. What's something that a lot of people are overlooking right now? I know obviously you need to change your filters every month, or and things like that. But what do you see a lot of? Because I know you see a lot of
Well,
different things out there.
what I would like to say is, for one, it is getting colder, and since people have tenants, one of the best things you need to do right now is to remind your tenants to take the hoses off of the spouts outside.
Mm,
Please make sure your tenants take the hoses off, because the hose is the reason those pipes will burst during the winter. So that's
mm,
one of the things I really want to be,
mm,
reiterate. But some of the things that I want to really go over is, like, when you get calls from tenants, you should have a checklist, a basic checklist of what you ask a tenant, so that you can reduce cost. Because if someone comes out there and it's just batteries in the thermostat, and now you have to pay a service fee plus the batteries, when you probably could have asked a tenant, for one, do, does your can you read your thermostat? Asking your tenant that simple question, can you read your thermostat? Right there will, if they say I can't read my thermostat, have them try to put some batteries in there. That right there, because my service fee is $115 plus the batteries. So right there, you would save yourself $120. So that's one of the things that's important. Another is, of course, the filters. Uh, when you have tenants that don't change the filters on a regular basis, a lot of things occur because of that. One thing is, a tenant may say, my air is running hot and cool, hot and cool, hot and cool. That could be due to a dirty filter. Filters can
mm,
cause that hot and cool. You know, then also, what you all were talking about, a second story house, with 2 stories, the upstairs is extremely hot. Upstairs is always going to be 5 to 8 degrees hotter if you don't have a dual system or zone system. But if you have a standard system, you can run your your fan motor, and it will help to equalize that temperature. It still will be hotter upstairs, but it would help with the difference if you don't have zone heating and cooling. That's
mm,
one thing as well that people can do to make their homes more comfortable. Also, I want to kind of say that the industry is changing. I don't know if any of you have heard, but you may have, about flammable refrigerants, flammable new systems. We're changing from an older gas to a new gas. This is one of the reasons why you may see a cost increase in your products when it comes to putting in new units. So that's something to be aware of. And
mm,
also, the newer systems, especially the higher end systems, they will not perform well if your ductwork is too small. That's another thing that we're going through right now with some of the newer systems. They work off of a pressure, and because some of the ductwork is so small, a lot of homes were not really designed to have air. You know, the ductwork is extremely small. And so what this is causing people to not get adequate cool or adequate heat. So we also have to keep all these things in mind. So the industry is changing, whereas now when someone comes out and they say, hey, you need a new system, you may start hearing people say you need new ductwork as well. It's not a scam. It's not a scam at all. What it is the new motors, the blower motor that's within the furnace, it operates off of pressure. So the higher the pressure, the motor tries to compensate for that, and it burns up the motor, which causes other problems. So just let you know, if someone comes to you and they say, hey, you may need to increase certain ductwork, this is going to become a normal thing. In fact, we've in the industry lately, we have been having heating and cooling companies getting sued because the airflow is not right in the house and it's not operating as it should. So we've had some heating and cooling companies get sued behind that. So you're going to start hearing some costly changes, you know. Then with the newer products, they're wonderful when it comes to the comfort of your home. But one concern is repair costs. Some of the, like John, you have a mini split type of system. So cleaning those is very important. You know, you got to keep those clean. But also now we are getting into where they have modulating systems where they control the amount of heat you get, the amount of airflow you get, and that all impacts your costs, your bills. But if those systems break, some of the newer systems, they repair costs are going to be ridiculously high, ridiculously high. But if you go middle of the road, like getting a two-stage furnace or something like that, especially if you're, you know, for yourself, not as an investor, for yourself. You get a two-stage furnace, you'll have lower energy costs. Your home will be more comfortable. It'll just be an all-around good experience. Now, when it comes to investment property, I recommend that you go build a grade, because one thing about a furnace and an air conditioner, even though no one cares about them. No one cares, even though 90% of the time they keeping you comfortable, but no one cares about them. So when it comes to selling, air conditioners and furnace do not add to the value of your home, but they shorten the sale time dramatically. If you have a new unit on a property that you're flipping, your hold time will be substantially shorter than when you have a system that's older, you know. So these are some of the things that I just want to put out there.
That's great information. Now, the ductwork, I just got a quick question on that. If you have to upgrade your ductwork, let's say you have an older home and you're going with a newer unit, what does that add as far as what's involved there? Do you have to, you know, just replace?
Well, it would depend on what ductwork would need to be replaced. But a lot of times it would be the main trunk, because the main trunk is smaller. So what you want to do is we want to go with a larger main trunk so that the air won't have as much resistance as it go through all the supply ductwork. So it would depend on what the system entails. Like they said, they got a system put in for $10,000. $10,000 is a great deal to have a second unit put in an attic. That's a whomever did that for you all, you need to keep them on standby, because that is a great deal. Now some of these units are getting into the $17,000-$20,000 range. You know, now a basic system, I can put a basic system in for probably, depending, $700 to $8,500, but that is not ductwork and all these other things. So when it comes to ductwork, it's just about what needs to be done on that job in order to it's something called static pressure. So it's all about what does it take to get a lower static pressure in your home so your unit will run better, and also it'd be quieter. So there's no way for me to tell you how much ductwork would cost, you know. So.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. Yeah, I'm sure, one size doesn't fit all anyway. You'd have to look at the job too.
Right, right. And it's just that it's, with this, everything changed. The new motors, see what it is in the old days, they just had like a constant torque motor where you just had the same speed, just the same pumping. But now, if anyone has a new furnace, they may have noticed a certain noise when their unit starts like a kind of a swaying, it sounds, but that's just the motor picking a spot to start running. So everything is just changing in my industry. It's getting, I'm not happy with some of the changes. I honestly, I'm really not. I don't feel some of these products are as good as they used to be, and I'm a little disappointed. And it's hard to tell the little old lady that I need her firstborn child because for the heat in her house. So it's very hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other than that, it's a the industry is just changing.
Yeah.
Has anyone heard something they were curious about when it comes to changing our industry, the heating and cooling industry?
Well, I know the filters are very important to change, and you talked about that, having your tenants do it. I think it's a good idea to go have your manager do it or do it yourself, and then you can kind of look and see how things are going. But you can also, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, you can count the toothbrushes, make sure that they're not having extra people in there and things like that, because
Well,
there
it's
are
their
some other
home at
things
that
to look
time,
at.
though. It's their home at that time. So, but
Right.
also what some landlords are doing is they're getting filters delivered monthly to their
Okay.
tenants.
Good idea.
So that way, the tenant sees that they get the new filter delivered to their home, and then they go down and they just change it out.
Mm.
But the thing about it is, a lot of people want to use want to use the high end filters, but the high end filters really just shorten the life of your furnace.
Mm.
You know.
That's good. How do they do that? Just because you don't change them as often? Is that what?
Well, a lot of them, if you have a filter that's 1 inch wide, a standard pleated filter that's 1 inch wide,
Mhm.
it creates resistance within your system. And that resistance is that air has to fight through that resistance, which causes the
Okay.
motor to work harder. So I recommend two types of filters. Either the cheap filter that you believe you don't want, that you can look straight through, the little fiberglass filter, or a
Mhm.
media filter that's 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches wide. One of those two is the only two filters that I recommend in your system because filters that 5 inches to 4 inches wide, all those pleats, each pleat inside of that filter is swings apart, and all them pleats might add up to 20 feet of paper. So it's so much more square inches for air to flow through versus the 1 inch pleated filter.
Wow.
It,
That's
and the thing about it is heating and cooling is not interesting to anyone other than the people that do it.
if you
But
don't have it, it's very interesting if it's not working right.
it is because a hot day and no air, you are going to be
E-
dreadfully miserable.
Exactly.
Dreadfully miserable. But the thing about it is, part of that is maintenance too. When it comes to your air conditioner, I recommend getting your air conditioner maintenance every year
Mhm.
just to make sure it's cleaned and checked, make sure the pressures are good, make sure the components are holding up well. And if you get it done every year, whomever does it can actually keep track of the readings. So
Mhm.
next year, the readings are off a little bit. It'll help me to understand you have a higher draw power. This component may be going out.
Mm.
So I recommend every year for your AC, but every 2 years for your furnace. Your furnace usually doesn't have any real problems. So every 2 years for the furnace, once a year for the AC.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's about the size of it.
That's
Okay.
great information. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. And you do service calls. What'd you say that was $150 or?
$115 for service call.
It-
And with that service call, I'll come in for one, I'll check all your components, make sure that you have, you know, good resistance in all your components. The thing about it is, out of a service call, what you would like is preventative maintenance. You know, it's just like you go to the dentist so you can keep your teeth. You know, you want somebody to come and check your AC and your furnace so you can keep it longer, because the longer you have something, the better return you have. You know, and also by me being, I work for the landlord. I work for whomever is cutting the check. That's what I work for. So when I go to a tenant's home and I notice that they have a dog that is obviously not housebroken, you know, that, or I notice that these walls obviously have holes in them from violence, or the yard is like, obviously no one has a lawnmower, I will always inform the landlord, because that's his money and that's his project. So with me, not only will I do a great job to preventive maintenance, but also help to keep the people informed, the tenants informed.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know you do a good job and you're very thorough. For someone to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you, DuMond?
you can call me at 314-280-5377. I will get to a tenant or to your home within 24 hours. Even on like the hottest day, we'll get you taken care of within 24 hours. Unless
Wow,
it's just a monsoon. Yeah, so but other than
yeah.
that, that's about the size of it.
Well, thank you. I know you do a great job. I think there's a question. Dana, James, did you guys have a question for DuMond?
Yes. Hi, DuMond. I had a couple of questions, and I think James had some too. But one, you were talking about the duct work. Is it possible to that where you were saying if the new duct work, you're not getting efficient airflow or heat, flowing maybe to a particular area? Is it possible
Well,
that you, huh? Oh, I
go
thought you
ahead,
said
finish your
something else.
question.
But anyway, is it possible that ductwork to a particular area as opposed to all the ductwork being changed? Is it possible to change, the ductwork to a particular area if you're having an issue with a particular area?
Are you having an issue in a particular area? Are you having
It's
issues in a particular area?
yeah.
Are you having
Uh-oh,
issues in a particular
it's going
area?
splotchy. I'm sorry.
Are you having problems?
Oh,
Well, look, if you have ductwork, first of all, it just depends on what would need to be changed. But in your circumstances, more than likely, either the ductwork, no ductwork is actually put in right. Most ductwork is put in wrong. That's the truth about it, because no one has custom ductwork, even though so many houses are different. So most of the time, when you have, whereas when you're not getting enough air in a certain area, one, it could be drafts. Drafts make one area seem extremely cold or extremely hot. The first thing I would do is I would walk through that area in my bare feet and see if I feel any air on my feet or on my legs, arm or whatnot, and try to cut that draft out first. That's the first thing I would do. Secondly, after that, some systems have what they call dampeners in the ductwork, where if you go up down the basement, sometimes you'll see like a little butterfly that you can turn left, turn right. That's a dampener. And what that dampener does is it closes or adjusts a piece of metal that's inside of the duct that shuts the duct off or opens the duct up. So first I will check for draft. Secondly, I would see if something called a dampener is open on that ductwork. And so what you could do is you could have your husband, one of y'all stay upstairs and tap on the duct and figure out what duct it is, and then go downstairs and adjust that dampener inside of that pipe. And the person upstairs can tell you whether or not they're feeling air coming through. So that'd be the second thing I would try. The third thing is maybe adjust some of the ducts. Adjust some of the dampeners so that you get a more equal airflow through all of the ducts. Those are some of the things that I would go to before I replace ductwork.
Okay. Okay. And also, it was my internet was going kind of splotchy. You said, as far as the filters, the cheap ones are, did you say 5/8, or I didn't hear that?
The 5-inch, like the 5-inch, either
5-inch.
the 5, but in order to use a 5-inch filter, you have to have that filter installed in your house where to hold that 5-inch filter.
Oh, okay.
You just can't put the 5-inch filter in. You have to have the housing for that filter installed. If you don't have that, then I recommend the cheapest filter, because it will help your system to last longer, and it will reduce stress on the motor, and also it'll help for your heat to blow longer. Because what'll happen is, if you don't have a good airflow, your flames will keep going out because the furnace is getting too hot. So if you increase that airflow by going to a cheaper filter, it would allow the flames to stay on longer and also to blow through more easily. And also a problem that I've noticed is that some people get oversized equipment. Never get oversized equipment.
Okay. Oh, my last question. Thank you for that. And my last question, you were saying, is it as far as if you added another system like in the attic for a 2-story, how would you have to add more vents to that second story, or can you?
You have two options. One option is, if you add another system, it would be a total system. All the ductwork, the thermostat, everything would be just for that upstairs. You could kill the system in the basement and reduce that size. It just depends. If you want to go with that, what I would recommend would just replace both systems and put a smaller system in the downstairs. The ducts that all go to the second floor, just terminate those, and then just run new ductwork for the second system that's being added. Or what you could do is, you can get zone heating and cooling, where we can take and hook up dampeners that are electronically controlled in your system, to whereas the upstairs and the downstairs still have two different thermostats, but the thermostats will close ductwork according to what you need. So like you cut off the upstairs, it will cut off the downstairs but open up the upstairs. And then you would also have what they call the dump zone, where any excess air would go to one particular area in your house. So either you could take and put two systems, or you can put a zone system.
Okay. For that 2 system, the one upstairs, so if you cut off the ones for the like the vents for upstairs, can that additional one upstairs go into those existing vents? Can that be plugged into
because
those
the thing about it is, those existing vents, you will be coming from down. You'll be coming from up in the attic going down. So the vents that will be there will be coming from the basement up. So you can still use the placement of those vents, but the ductwork, you will be coming from the opposite direction. So you would have to take and cut all that out and put in new ductwork there.
Okay, that's what I think that was the terminology. You said the placement of those vents, you could still use that.
Yeah, you could still utilize the placement, but the duct would not be utilized.
Even if those placements are in the floor, you can still use that from the attic.
You can do that, because but you would have to run a chase or something. You would have to run a chase on the first floor to run ductwork on the first floor, so that it will pop up into the second floor.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So you will, like if you go, you will have ductwork running under on the first floor. You would have ductwork running, and then you would take that and put that in a soffit, and you would branch the ductwork off, and you can come out the floor from there. But you would not normally do that. You would just come through the ceiling. You put round ducts in the ceiling or whatever, because you want to put the ducts in a good spot.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much. Did you have?
Yeah, my question real quick is that it seems like there's always a change or something with the refrigerant that's being used in the AC units. And So I'm just wondering as far as a personal and business, a rental property, should we be concerned about the units that we put in? I know we talking about energy costs too, but should we be concerned about that? And also with our heating, our furnaces, should we go with a high efficiency in personal and or our rentals, or should we just go with maybe just a regular units?
All right. For one, when it comes to the different refrigerant, that's outside of your control. That's outside of my control. That the type of refrigerant is determined by the government entities in which we have available. So if you whatever system you put in now, you're going to have one of two types if it's installed now, and they're what they call A2L refrigerants, meaning they're slightly flammable. So the refrigerant is outside of your control and is outside of my control. So there's no need to be concerned with it because we don't have control of that. We just have to do we have to put in what's available when it comes to the refrigerant. When it comes to high efficiency units, if you have a house that's older and it has a standard chimney, then you want to go with a higher efficiency. Because if it has a standard chimney, you would have to put a chimney liner in, which would basically negate the price of a higher efficiency unit. So instead of paying to get a chimney liner put in, you would just pay for a higher efficient unit. So it's better off if you have just a regular chimney to go with a higher efficiency unit in your home and rental property. Now, if you don't have a chimney and you can just it's just a chase that comes down the middle of the house, then on your rental property, I recommend you going with build a grade. With your home, I recommend that you go with the middle of the road, 2-stage furnace, so that your energy cost is lower and your consumption of fuel is lower.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great information. I appreciate that, DuMond. And we've gone a couple minutes over, so I guess we'll probably wrap it up today, but appreciate you guys. Gene and Lynn also, phenomenal job you did. Thank you so much, DuMond, for filling us in with all these details. And again, this is the time of year. I mean, today might not seem like it, but it is.
I'm sorry that I bored you all with
you
the
didn't bore.
foolishness.
No, it's great information. This is higher level than you can get anywhere, as far as I'm concerned, on detail.
And DuMond, you're my first call next time, man. Thank you so much. It's helped me, even though I don't need you right now. You're top of my list.
Thank you so very. Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Great information.
for another meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can
you
do
all
it.
got a great deal, though. I'm telling you, that $10,000 is wonderful.
Well, see, that's lucky us, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? Wonderful. I'm glad you all got a great deal, and I'm glad you all got your house squared away and are moving on to the next project.
Yes, thank you, DuMond.
Thanks. And thank you so much for all the great information. It really was a great education.
Like my phone number, please write it down. If you just have John, my phone number is 314-280-5377. John has called me
for the next one.
Well, it's not. Maybe you may be curious about something. You may have a question about something. You may be unsure of something. Feel free to call me up. A lot of people call me Boozer, which is my last name, and say, "Hey, Boozer, I'm unsure about something. I've heard this. I believe this. What do you know about this?" Feel free. I'm here to be utilized. I'm here to contribute.
Thank you.
Do you also work South St. Louis?
Yes, I do. I don't like it too much, but I do work it. I'm not a fan.
Too far for you?
He does a great job too.
Some of those are depressing. Some of those areas are somewhat depressing, and you can stumble on anything on the south side.
That's true. Depends on what block you live in.
Hey, I am a scary guy. I am a runner, not a fighter.
And you're a encyclopedia when it comes to HVAC.
Ooh, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, just
You know what?
unbelievable.
I could go on for days. So I could talk to you about boilers. I could be like, hey, when you service your boilers, steam boilers, water boilers. Because I can go. I can go.
You can fix them.
Yeah, I can go. I can start talking for days on end.
Well, we appreciate that, DuMond, and please come back and just pop in now and then whenever you can. Now you got the link to come and see us.
All right.
And
All right.
same thing with you, Gene and Lynn too. You guys, we appreciate you. Of course, you guys are hard workers too. And I know we got our main event coming up this